I have something that I haven't shown yet. No, I realized most people don't understand anything.
Do you ask yourself that question, or do you have no doubt?
Yeah, of course you have doubts sometimes, but I have no issue to just leave the sport and become like a teacher or whatever.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but I have like this inner feeling that Paris will be my race.
Gustav, thanks so much for joining us here in London for this long-form interview that we're going to be having now. It's interesting, like thinking about your career. I mean, you're only in your mid-20s still, two-time 70.3 world champion, Ironman world champion, Kona course record holder, raced at the elitist of elite levels, short course racing, and really athletically with your prime years still ahead of you. Do you ever give yourself a moment to kind of reflect and think, wow, this has been some journey already?
Yeah, it's been special, yeah, for sure. Like the run me and Kristian had since Tokyo basically it's been insane, winning everything. He won Olympic gold and then a short course world championship, and then we won the half and the full distance Ironman, and it's basically been winning everything we have set our minds to. So it's been a pretty crazy journey, but for me now, I'm still there that I want to see if I can be as good in short distance as I think I can.
They say in sport, momentum is everything. Is that how you feel? Like, but in terms of this winning sort of train that's just been like careering down the tracks or seemingly unstoppable.
Yeah, but now I feel it's been a long time since October now. I feel like athletes live like almost day to day, and people still come up to me and say, "Congrats, Gustav," and like, "Congrats for what?" For winning Kona. And like, that's so done. I'm on to the new stuff now. And yeah, you might say the momentum is good, but I only see like the last few sessions, and I'm really more like a day-to-day guy. And my momentum at the moment is not where I wanted it to be. I had a shit race in Abu Dhabi, and I had some rough training weeks after that. And Qatar was also, it was okay considering how bad I've been training really. And now I'm starting to get back into shape. So now this interview is before the qualification before the race in London. So we'll see how it goes there. But yeah, momentum is important, but the momentum is not the big picture. It's a day-to-day thing.
So that's a really interesting thing you said about the success. Are you able to enjoy the success? Because it sounds a little bit like that's hard for you.
No, I do enjoy it, and I do live for performance. But for me, performance is of course, winning big races is super special, and you get so much attention and good things around it. But I can also have almost the same feeling in a good training day. Like if I nail a good swim session and really feel like, okay, this is going somewhere, I can have the same feeling without like the fame or media attention around it. So for me, it's performance driven by performance sake and not the attention around it.
And in terms of that attention, you seem like quite a shy, unassuming guy who likes to be out on his bike. That's kind of how you got into this position, right? How do you find that? Well, I mean, that's quite because it's kind of unusual for triathletes. They're not people who are normally in the spotlight like you are.
I do enjoy the spotlight. I do feel like triathlon needs some personality, but also it's nice to just be alone in a mountain. So now I've been training in Sierra Nevada, and it's no people up there except athletes, and playing ping pong with Chris Froome, and of course beating him, and just hanging around with this world-class athletes and just training in altitude. That's where my real love for sports come, and then of course on race day to perform. But I'm glad triathlon is not a big enough sport that you have to actually have all this media training and everything. It's relaxing to just have a sport where you can train by yourself.
And let's just step back there. Sorry, playing ping pong with Chris Froome.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. I mean, is he any good? Are you any good?
I would say I'm better than average. And Chris Froome was also decent, but yeah, we beat him.
You beat him.
Yeah. So and Kristian also beat him, but Kristian was beaten by me. So it's it's a tournament going up on there now. So I'm a bit sad to be here in London because it was a big tournament yesterday, and Kristian lost like a full crate of Red Bulls, I think, because there was like a wager going on.
Wow. Yeah. And are you cycling with Chris at all, or is it just ping pong?
The issue with cyclists is that they train like 11 in the morning, but we have 3 sessions to do a day, so it's hard to figure out a way to do it together. But hopefully we'll have at least one ride together.
And when you were growing up, that was the life you wanted, right? Cycling? Is that was kind of your first love?
Yeah. So I started off with cycling, coming from a family with a lot of love for the outdoors and mostly cycling. So my bigger brother and sister, they started cycling when I was too young to do the racing. So then I had to stand on the sideline and just watch them race, which was quite boring. So I needed to keep myself entertained. But when I was 10, you can finally start competing cycling in Norway. And that's when like my love for competition also started to come. And from age 10 to 15, 16, it was all about cycling. And from there, it was like slowly transitioning more to triathlon. And since 16, it's been triathlon.
So that upbringing, can you talk to us a little bit about that very outdoors lifestyle that you're talking about?
Yeah, it's quite the norm in Norway, I would say. In different countries, you have different cultures, and Norway, we have like a mountainous country with a lot of free space outside and a lot of terrible weather. So you just have to learn to enjoy the rain and everything. So I've been growing up cycling in the rain, and I didn't have a treadmill or like a good real turbo trainer until basically when COVID hit. So I did indoor training as well, but not as much because the rain didn't bother me and just going outside. But now I've been too much in Spain, too much in the good weather, so I'm growing more sensitive to the bad weather now. So now I'm doing more on Swift and everything.
So your parents, your siblings as well, that was they were very encouraging, were they, of this kind of like be outdoors, be active, be doing sport? Yeah,
for sure. So a lot of friends in my neighborhood also just went out riding. It's just what we did.
And in terms of when you said about watching your siblings as well compete, did that kind of light a fire in you somewhere?
It's always motivating to have someone older than you that you can always chase, and also when you first start beating them, it's also more fun.
Yeah, I bet. Where did the moment then come that you felt a bit like maybe it's not cycling here for me, maybe it is triathlon and that's where I need to commit to?
I can't pinpoint a moment, but I was more like I knew to win like Tour de France, you couldn't be only cycling, and I did just loved being outside running as well, and I didn't want to give up my running career or running. So I wanted to keep on doing that. So then I just had to learn how to swim so I could combine cycling and running. So swimming was more like a consequence of doing triathlon and not something I really wanted to do. And still is by far the most challenging part of triathlon.
So did you feel like you were looking for something there that was the sport that you enjoyed the most, or were you looking for the sport that you could be an elite at?
No, I think I could have been a really good cyclist as well if I wanted to. And at that time I was actually a really good cyclist, better cyclist than triathlete, I would say. But triathlon was more in line with what I loved.
Yeah, and how did the swimming come along to start with? Because that's like for anybody, that's a difficult thing to learn.
Yeah, I feel like it's still coming along. It's been like I have so many people saying, you should swim more and you should do this and you should do that. But I have actually tried everything in swimming, and I wouldn't say like you're born with swimming, but I feel like swimming is, some people catch it faster than others. And cycling, it's kind of easy. You just have to be aero and push power, and that's pretty simple. And running is also pretty simple. It doesn't matter how much your upper body moves, you still move quite fast. But in swimming, I just can't seem to get it right. And of course I improved, and of course I'm getting better, and I have a good coaches, and I'm good at intensity control and everything. But the level I'm training at is higher than what I'm feeling like I can get out from the pool. So it's a bit annoying, but that's also part of my journey, you know. If I wanted the easy way out, I could just keep on doing Ironmans and win every single world championship for the next 15 years, you know. Put it a bit exaggerated, but I do enjoy the struggle to a certain degree. So of course I haven't won every single short course race I've ever done, but I feel like I have something that I haven't shown yet, and I really wanted to show it for myself. And I'm not like a guy that wants to prove the haters wrong, but I do, of course, read the forums and the comments that say like you should just stick to long course racing. But that's not what I want to do. I want to prove to myself what I can do. So it's more like an ego thing.
Does that that's remarkable. You've been so successful, but does some of that criticism that you're talking about there, that the people who haven't been successful are saying these things, does that sting a little bit sometimes?
No, I realized most people don't understand anything. Like most people online, they're so stupid. So they don't understand triathlon really. They might understand bits, but top performance triathlon is so different than just finishing an Ironman, and they don't understand also the level of short course racing, like the amount of talent and hard training it requires now to win the World Series or Olympic game is insane. So I don't pay too much attention to the comments. It's you just have to realize that they have a normal life with a normal job, and they can't dedicate their life to triathlon as I do. So they don't understand the sport at the same level as I do either.
But do you, I mean, obviously you must read some of them to even be aware of what's there, but do you have to kind of, how much do you read? How much do you try and filter? How much do you moderate? How much do you switch off at times? What do you do?
No, but most comments, honestly, they're so nice and just keep on going. You can do it, like these kind of things.
Yeah.
So I do read most comments, but luckily triathlon is it's a positive sport, and anyone who has finished an Ironman, they realize how hard it can be. So even though they don't understand the competitiveness of all aspects of triathlon, they still just love this sport, because you can't do Ironman out of hate, because it's just it's just too big of a challenge.
Only if you hate yourself.
yeah, you might hate yourself or your decisions leading up to that point, but triathlon is a lovely sport, and I think our fan base and age groupers is unique. I think if you go in a sport like football, you have like death threat to the judge if you do one mistake. And now I did get a penalty here in this race for showing up late because of British Airways. But still I have love for all the judges and everything. And I feel like triathlon is a loving sport.
Yeah, it is a great sport. It's a great community. I think that's what most people find and love about it. But as you're talking about it there, let's talk about that move from getting into the sport, becoming really, really seriously good at short course racing, obviously going into 70.3, and then going into full distance Ironman. Traditionally, the career path for an athlete was you do your short distance career, you retire from short distance, and then you go and start going long. You're going short, long, short, presumably long again, and who knows, maybe even short again, given your age. What are the challenges that presents for, from both I guess a physical point of view, but also a psychological point of view? Yeah,
I did a middle distance race or half Ironman already back in 2016 when I was 20 years old. So I did kind of not the full distance, but kind of long quite early when I was 20, and I knew already before I did a race that I might be more like suited for the middle distance, and I did really well for my first race. So I knew that I had kind of like an easy way out if my short course career didn't go the way that I wanted. But for me, middle distance was the easy way out, kind of. I do really believe that I can be the best short course athlete as well, but I haven't figured out all the things yet. So even though our training is very based on science and it's based on knowing everything, we still haven't figured out everything yet, and we're still learning, and I still have lot to learn about myself and our training and racing. So that's why I feel like short course can still be good. But going long course this early in my career was just because an opportunity presented itself, basically. I had won the middle distance or the half Ironman championship, and I got a qualification spot for Kona, and everything was just like, I have qualified, so I might as well just do it.
May as well just do it. Yeah,
because
may as well turn up. Yeah, give it a roll,
I am a guy who takes my opportunities when it arises. My life has always been like saying yes to most things, and suddenly now I'm like an honorary citizen of Taiwan, and have like this insane story just because I like to grab my opportunities. So if I didn't qualify for Kona, I might never race there at all. So it's a bit random how you end up doing the things you're doing. Also with my triathlon career, I started my first triathlon because the Norwegian Youth Championship in cycling and triathlon was at the same place, the same weekend. And one of the fathers of the team, he was just like, yeah, you should try it out. And then I did it once, and I was like, nah, it's pretty fun. So I feel like I'm the guy who's just randomly ending up in situations and just trying to make the best out of it.
But isn't that fascinating though, in your life, your triathlon career? Because the Norwegian team, including yourself, obviously, have become so known for meticulous preparation, science. Like everything feels like you're drilling into and pushing the boundaries on everything, in this world of sports science to become the best athletes that have kind of existed in this sport. And yet you're talking about rolling along randomly from event to event, and I'll just see where the wind blows.
It might be like a bit of a contradiction there, but I feel like we have perfect control over many aspects, and if you have control over that many aspects, you can afford to be a bit more, I wouldn't say random, but more like see what opportunity arises. If you don't have control of anything in your life, you kind of have to follow some rules, or else you would end up killed. So the more control you have over some aspects, the more random you can be in other aspects. And I just love living life, and many people might think that we are like a boring bunch, and it might seem boring from the outside what we're doing, but I feel like I have a huge variation day to day, and like a 4-hour bike ride is not a 4-hour bike ride. So many things to do and see and to enjoy along the way. So I definitely not see my life as like monotone or anything. I feel like it has huge variation, and I go from a good session to a bad session, and just trying to get everything in.
Okay, let's go into that a little bit, because I think that's an interesting aspect of your life, the Norwegian setup, the training. Like there's this feeling, rightly or wrongly, that this is, for you guys, this is all encompassing. You're all in on triathlon, and this is it, right?
That's true though. That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you therefore ever wonder, kind of, even with all your success, like, is it worth it? Is it worth giving this much of myself, like all of myself?
It's worth it. Yeah.
But do you ever have that doubt? Do you ask yourself that question, or do you have no doubt?
Of course you have doubts sometimes, like finishing almost last in Abu Dhabi and you're putting in the work. It's not easy, and I do feel like I sacrifice something for this job, but on the other hand, I really love what I'm doing, and no one is forcing me to do this. It's so different to work like a job that you hate, but you have to do it because you need the money. I have such a good support system around me, and I'm lucky for being from Norway. I can pull out of the sport in any minute and just go back to school and find a job and live like a normal life. So it's kind of refreshing to have an exit, you know. I'm not trapped in this situation. I choose to be this way every single day, and I choose to just do the training because I know if I one day don't want to do it anymore, it's easy to do something else.
But you said there, you know, you question it when you have a result like you did in Abu Dhabi, and it's a real struggle for you. Is a validation of what you're doing in your own mind based on your enjoyment of it, or is it based on success? Therefore, like the results have to come.
I think performance and enjoyment is quite closely related, and I think the people at the top do enjoy the work more, I think, because you see that you get more out of it, and you can see direct correlation between having a good training period and a good result. And if you know that you can affect your own performance, I think that's a huge part of the enjoyment. If you feel like you're doing everything you can and your race is still shit, then it's difficult to keep motivated. Yeah. But if you see you can directly influence your performance, then it's not that hard to put in the work. Then you know that, okay, if I run 1 hour extra today, I perform 2 seconds better in the next race. Not like training works like that, but if you can see the actual benefit of training, then it's actually not that hard to keep motivated.
But you must have to have. I find it interesting, like how you may look at everybody else in the world, because I would say that's a very unique and singular mindset that only a small number of people in the world can probably possess, to go that all in on something kind of at the cost of what other people would consider normal. Yeah. Everybody's normal is different, right? That's fine. But what do you think when you look at everybody else? Because it's so different to what you do and what you give and what you sacrifice.
I think I am very comfortable with who I am, and we have also like a team around us, and it's not only me and Kristian training together. We have our coach Olav Alexander, and he is more insane than me and Kristian. And then what me and Kristian are. He is so all in, it doesn't make any sense. You would see this guy and you wouldn't understand him at all. He's very, very special. So having this team of crazy people around you that really are all in on something, it's very inspiring. But it's also
sounds addictive.
Yeah, it's addictive, but it's also like it is sustainable, kinda. So it's not 100% sustainable. It's not something you can do for forever. You know, you have to piece it up a little bit. So now we have this Paris project, you know, going all in for Paris and take the goal there. But I know that straight out of Paris, it's going to be Kona, it's going to be all of these things. But I try not to think about Kona 2035, you know. I try to think about Paris 2024 and piece it up a little bit, because if I think that I'm going to do exactly what I'm doing for the next 15 years, it's going to be overwhelming, and I don't think I would handle it. So sustainable, not really. Fun at the moment.
I mean, in terms of not being sustainable, I mean, does that make you question like whether you would potentially leave the sport earlier than you know, perhaps a Jan Frodeno, who's obviously going on and on, or does it, in your mind, is it perhaps more that you know that your athletic career cannot last forever, so you're just going to milk every drop out of it in the interim period, basically?
I think it's not like I plan to race until I'm 42, but it's not like I'm planning to quit when I'm 30 either. Yeah, it's just doing what I enjoy at the moment, and that's something we're quite open about within our team. Also, Kristian is more dedicated to the long term, but I have no issue to just leave the sport and become like a teacher or whatever.
Yeah.
So just do what you love at the moment and don't think too much, I think. So thinking it's what gets to you. If you just do what you love at the moment, it's nice.
So compartmentalize is what they say, isn't it? Like just every day you get your ticks next to your training schedule, and then do the same thing.
And I'm really not a planner, so I'm so lucky to have a coach that is good with long-term planning and a manager who is seeing like, my sponsors are happy and do like those kind of things. So I'm a day-to-day kind of guy. And lucky to have someone who's planning everything for me.
I guess that's what success can help bring, right? It can bring a team around you of people.
And now I have a huge team. Sometimes it feels a bit overwhelming because so many people's, I wouldn't say jobs, but like the project is so big. And
the pressure's on you to deliver.
Yeah, kind of. But I don't feel the pressure in that way. But it's just more that if I do well, so many people would love what they're doing even more. So I want to like make the team happy, you know, make the success story we're already writing. So going into Kona, we had a project with on running and the shoes, and that was so successful. And I just saw how much joy it brought both myself and the team that we can make like a next level shoe in such a short amount of time. And we have so many projects like this involving so many people. So it's just a lot of people are riding on my success and Kristian's success. So it's good that at least we have twice the chances with the two of us. But it's a huge team around us, and it's really fun to be a part of it, but it's also sometimes a bit stressful because you have to keep all the cogs moving. And I don't think, I think we made it kind of not hard for ourselves, but we wanted this part of triathlon as well. We wanted to do the tech development. We wanted to do like not only the racing, but all the things around. And it was a choice we make. And it is, I would say it's a bit stressful, but it's also so much fun to take part of it.
Yeah. It's a fascinating life that you're leading, and you're obviously choosing to lead as well, which is very clear from what you're saying. Interested to talk to you about your relationship with Kristian a little bit as well. Obviously, that's a fascination for many people in and around the sport. Can you take us back? Can you remember when you first met Kristian?
I think we met like 2008 maybe, but we didn't get to know each other really until 2010, 2011. And at the start it was not he was a bit older, and I wouldn't say scary, but he was a bit different than me. And
in what way?
I'm more of a social guy, and he's grown more social, but back then he was a bit weird in a way. Like he was really all in from triathlon since day one, and I have been more, I want to say, normal, and I kind of grown into the professional athlete mindset more than him. But he has been leading the way for the team, basically how to be a 24-hour athlete. He would take choices in the evening, like eating this piece of bread because it's good carbs for the training session tomorrow. I was just eating because I wanted the food, but he took all the choices all the time to become the best athlete he could be. So that's something that's really been inspiring for me.
Yeah. So from that initial meeting then, and this kind of slightly weird guy who's not really like me that much, how did this kind of relationship, this friendship, this camaraderie and this training group kind of mushroom out from there, and this incredible success in Norway? It's just
it's hard to describe, but I don't know, we are like extremely good training partners, and I think that's like the base foundation of the friendship. I think if I was a bad athlete and didn't bring him anything and he didn't bring me anything, I don't think we necessarily would be the friends as we are today. So it's more like it is, I wouldn't say a professional friendship, but it's definitely that's where it started. We both can gain something from this. But yeah, now it's good to have someone by your side when you're doing well and you're doing bad.
So would you? Is it still a professional friendship, or is it blossomed into like a,
no,
a
it's not.
friendship that's outside
No,
of
it's
training?
not professional, but that's where like
Yeah.
it kind of
Well, I
starts.
understand. You have friends
yeah.
everybody has friends at work who are friends at work, but not
Yeah.
necessarily friends outside
No,
of
but
work.
we're friends also outside. But it
Yeah.
starts like, I think if we didn't bring each other success, I don't think this friendship would work either. Kind of.
What do you both bring then to that relationship in terms of like the drivers for each other?
I think to have someone as dedicated as you is just refreshing, you know, to have someone who's willing to do the same work as you do every single day. And it's not like we are having this insanely deep conversations every day, but it's more like to have someone by your side that's willing to do the work you're doing, and it's that's very comforting.
Is it? I guess it must be very inspirational, very motivating, like kind of day to day. Because as incredible as you are, you must both have days when you just feel like can't be bothered to do this today. This is awful. But you've got the other one maybe to kind of drag you along a little bit and come on, let's do this.
And Kristian is insanely competition driven. He is like he's getting mad if he loses some card games, you know, and he wants someone by his side that he can beat in training, or at least compete against. I don't care too much about that. I'm not. I would say I'm not your typical world champion. Basically, I don't have this drive to win. I would say it's more. I want to win what I set my head to. I want to do what I want to do, but it's not like if I play a card game, I'm not getting mad if I lose. I don't want to win everything. It's more like if I want to do something, I want to do it. And it's more like a choice I make, like to do something. I can also choose, I want to come second in this race and then be happy with second place. But Kristian is winning, and that's his thing, is like winning. So he needs someone in training that he can beat. And he wants to, he says sometimes I'm not a punchable face. He wants a more punchable face in training, like a real douchebag that can say to him, "Oh, you're so bad. You're swimming so ugly. You're such a bad athlete." He wants someone that can like, I'm gonna punch this guy in the face. But I'm so sometimes I think he wishes that I was more like, I'm gonna kill this guy, you know. So that's what I bring. Be a semi-punchable guy in training.
A semi-punchable guy.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great honor that is. Well, that's interesting though. For talking about your mindset there, because you're right. I mean, when you speak to many world champions across sports or successful sports people, they are these uber competitive people who just like they can't lose at anything. They're just some of them, they have kids and they can't lose a kickabout in the garden with their kid without getting angry.
Yeah.
So is yours focused on the result, or are you more focused on delivering the performance that you believe is inside you? Is that what drives you? And then the result is like a byproduct.
It is achieving my goals. Yeah. So the goal is dependent on what I set the goals to be, and I am very realistic in my goals. Like going into in Nice in 2019, my goal was for sure winning, and back then I had won a few World Cups, but not anything huge, you know, and most wouldn't know my name really. But I knew that, I'm going to win this race. So that was my goal for that race, and I was happy to deliver. But then you have other races where I'm like, okay, I can come top 10 here, and I'm going to achieve this goal while coming top 10. And then you come top 10, and you're happy because that's what realistically you could do in the day. So I think achieving my goals it's what is driving me, and not necessarily winning. Even though my long-term goal is, of course, winning in Paris and winning these other big races. But it's more what I set my goals to be, and my goals is not always to win the card games.
When you talked at the very, very start of this conversation, I noticed something that you said when you talked about we've won this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just in reference to your journey in Kona and your team, it sounded also in reference to we've won the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like, as Kristian got that gold medal, you got that course record in Kona. But do you feel like that you're kind of almost, your honours are almost somehow combined?
Yeah, for sure. So we are sharing so much things together. Like we have the same training program, we have the same life basically. So if he's doing well, it's kind of like a testament that our team is doing something right. Of course, he's the one that delivered on that day, and I'm the one that delivered on another day. But it is for sure a team thing. And when I see people doing the same thing as me performing, it's more like, and it's also that I can do the same because we are basically doing the same every single day. So it's more like, if he can do it, I can do it because we're doing the same thing every single day.
Yeah, it's interesting to share that glory with somebody. It's very interesting, and with your team. You've obviously become known for this sports science drive. Not that sports science didn't exist before you guys in triathlon, but I think most people would recognise you've taken it to new levels. What more is there to come? What more percentage is there to find in a human being than you've already squeezed out?
I think it's a lot more, for sure. So the human body is incredibly advanced, and it's hard to know what's working and what not. So most training now is being done because it's worked before, and it's working on different athletes. But I think using science now to really understand why you're performing when you're performing and underperforming when underperforming, I think that's the really next level step. And with artificial intelligence now coming so far, and we have been collecting so much data over the years, and we know when we're performing good and when we're performing bad, and what training we have done before these kind of performances, I think we can see in the future a really, really deeper understanding of what's working and what's not working, and then just try to apply it every single time.
So kind of AI helping to actually
I think
sift through
AI,
this data.
Yeah, I think AI would be a huge help. It's really hard to see the trends because running 59 minutes or 101 minute, it's such a small difference.
Yeah.
But in the end, performance is also quite a small difference. So racing Kona and winning by 3 minutes or 2 minutes, it's like 2 minutes is a lot, but over like 8 hours is basically nothing.
Yeah.
And if you do basically nothing and try to see the trends, it's really hard for the human to understand these small differences. So I think applying AI to all our training data and see what comes up, I think that would be interesting. And luckily we have so much data from training and sleeping and the VO2 max test we do in the lab quite often, and racing, and so much power data. So I think it's not going to be hard to find the trends.
So do you feel like the science that you're doing is kind of only scratching the surface at the moment?
Yeah.
Because I guess you wouldn't get, in your mind, would you not get that result in Abu Dhabi had you had this huge understanding of where you physically were at that moment?
And it's also, of course, other things playing a factor like sickness and the mental aspect. I think it's really hard to always be mentally on, and so now we're talking mostly about the physiologically aspect, but I think mindset plays a huge role, and I actually noticed that quite a lot after coming back from long distance, because it's hard to know that I have to go all out on the swim. It's like, I know I have to do it, and I know it's the best thing to do, but just doing it in a moment, it's different, because I still have a bit of that long course mentality stuck in my head. So I think I need some races to really get back into that short course mindset, because the mind is a powerful thing, and you can think to yourself to incredible performances, or you can think yourself sick. So I try to be on top of the mental game as well. Yeah,
I mean, what do you do to work on that? I mean, that's obviously not driven by numbers and data and testing as such in the same way. It's not something that AI would help understand. What do you do around that? How do you work? Is that something you actively work on?
I do actively work on it, yeah. So, yeah, not to go too much in detail, but I think confidence is extremely important. Like confidence in training and knowing that if I do this session well, it's actually going to improve my performance. If you do a session and thinking, I think I might get sick from this one. I mean, I think I might get injured from this session. You would never do it 100%. Like it's impossible to do something 100% if you don't actually believe in it. Like you wouldn't jump out of an airplane if you're only 95% certain that the parachute would open. So it's extremely important to be confident. So that's what I'm doing mostly.
And how confident are you on your Paris 2024 project and what you can deliver at the end of that?
Like right now, I feel like it's two different kind of confidence. Like right now in the moment, my performance, I'm not that confident. I'm not like where I'm at the moment. I'm not where I want to be in Paris. But my self-belief that I would do well in Paris, that's high. And I have this, it's hard to explain, but I have like this inner feeling that Paris will be my race.
That it'll all come together somehow.
It will all come together, yeah. So right now I feel like I'm a bit behind the curve. I'm behind the qualifying schedule. I'm behind of my performance at the moment. But I do have like this strong believing inside me that Paris will be good.
Do you feel like you need the indicators of success between now and Paris, or can
For sure.
You don't feel like you can just keep that belief until race day,
No.
and then race day you can kind of pull something out the bag?
I don't think the mind is that powerful. So going into Tokyo, Kristian and Kasper was beating me on basically every single session, like the swim, the bike, and the run, and especially Kristian. He was so good going into Tokyo. So yeah, it was hard for me to believe that I could beat him because it was just too intense. But you always have like this one race scenario that if I swim slightly better than normal and I can relax in the bike pack, and you're not hoping for any crashes, but obviously it's part of triathlon, and it's being good technical helps you stay clear of this. But if everything comes together, then I might be able to win. But it's not. Then it's not only on you anymore. Then you have to have so many external factors like mechanical or punctures and all these things. So I knew that it might be 1 out of 1,000 scenarios that I won that race. But you don't go around hoping for this technical failure of others. You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big ask. Otherwise, you're asking for the gods to intervene, basically, aren't you?
Yeah.
And taking out your own control. So I don't massively like the conversation personally of like greatest of all time, because I think that it's sort of a little bit pointless. But it is a conversation that surrounds you and Christy, and even at a young age, which you still are young athletically, because you're doing something that people haven't done before, really, in kind of having great success at different distances and moving between distances. Not just going, I'm really successful short course, now I'll be really successful long course, or just really successful at one or the other. And that pushing of boundaries. There's kind of, I know you've talked about the short-term project, so you might shoot this down, but do you at least, because other people must talk to you about it, you must be aware of it. Is there a feeling in your mind that there's a legacy somewhere here? Like when you do eventually hang up the whatever you hang up in the triathlon, I know the bike. If you've got a bike, right?
The tri-suit, yeah.
Yeah, hang up the tri-suit. That's much better. Actually, we could have, and I know that's how you look at it, could have blazed a trail here and leave a legacy behind that is something that nobody's achieved before, and that actually it might be tough for people to achieve again.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think I have no good answer on like the greatest of all time, and I have.
How do you feel about that discussion, by the way? Do you think it's pointless as well? Do you like? Is this something you actively talk about?
It is like more like a fan thing, you know.
Yeah,
Some people like that athlete, other likes the other athlete, but obviously Jan is. He is, at least one of the greatest, like Olympic gold and Kona champion and all these things. So I feel like I'm out of the discussion really, because my short course career hasn't been as successful as many others. So I am out of the discussion until I can really prove myself in a short course. But it's not. That's absolutely not what I'm doing short course. So
it's not. It's not about, in your mind. It's not about legacy.
No,
or
it's not.
Like
that's
that.
not the reason I want to do short course, like to prove that I'm the greatest of all time. It's more that I just want to do it. It's no deeper meaning or anything. It's just I want to do it.
And that seems to be like, from the completeness of this interview, that seems to be your philosophy. It's every day I'm getting up, I'm enjoying myself, I'm enjoying my life.
Yeah.
I'm tolerating interviews like this, so I can go and compete later on still. And that's just your life, right? That's just the enjoyment that you're getting day to day.
Yeah. So that's what I did Kona as well. I just wanted to do it and wanted to do it well, so we did it, and that's basically my whole career so far. I just want to do it, and I just like to do what I'm doing, and it's really fun to be good, of course, and it's really fun to be able to do this and have the support from sponsors and all these different events that make it possible to do it. So I'm so grateful for the opportunity I'm given. So I just love what I do.
Well, Gustav, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for being so open and in discussing your life and your career. It's been a real pleasure, and we wish you all the very best for your Paris adventure and beyond.
Thank you.